Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, and like this video. That helps me to keep making videos, and I would appreciate it majorly. It's all right up here, but I do not need it because it's in my head. I'm going to tell it to you right now. I saw some very interesting news, big time, this morning about a activist investor in AT&T sending a letter to the board of directors. And I saw this on CNBC as it was breaking. A couple hours later, Donald Trump, President Trump, tweeted about it, how happy he was that an activist investor was now involved in AT&T. And oh man, I got to read his tweet. You're such a turkey. So, just saying, great news that an activist investor is now involved with AT&T. As the owner of a very low rating CNN, that's what I forgot to tell you already. I mean, that's why when I saw that this breaking news, I knew it was significant because I knew AT&T owned CNN. Many people who follow these things knew that. It's pretty common knowledge. So I figured there was some politics to it, and it sure seems like there is. Anyways, and the Trump's thrilled about it. As the owner of a very low rating CNN, perhaps they will now put a stop to all the fake news emanating from non-credible anchors. Also, I hear that because of the bad ratings, it is losing a fortune. But most importantly, CNN is bad for the USA. Their international division spews bad information and fake news all over the globe. That is why foreign leaders are always asking me, why does the media hate the U.S. so much? It is a fraudulent shame, and it all comes from the top. So, like I said, the activist investor, Elliott Management, sent a letter to the board of directors at AT&T. Basically, it's very long. I assume these things typically are laying out a variety of things and strategies to bring the stock price up to like double to 60 from where it is around 32 right now. And I think they're placing some emphasis on some of their acquisitions and I think emphasizing divestiture of one of those acquisitions, at least according to, this Japan Times news seems to get right to that. Some of the American media doesn't sort of dances around it. It's really gotten to the point where the media, flat out, big, huge corporate media, is in bed with Trump, or they're just afraid of him, or both. They just don't know, and they're just going to wait it out and see what happens. They're not going to say a peep until after the election, in case he wins. So, but this article says activist investor Elliott questions AT&T takeover of Time Warner. And as Trump calls for changes at CNN. Activist investor Elliott Management Corp. on Monday questioned AT&T's $85 billion takeover of Time Warner, which owns CNN, and called for the wireless carrier to sell non-core businesses to boost its stock price, driving its shares their highest in a year. They were up, 5-6% most of the day, but they pretty much closed the day right around just up like 1.5%. So I don't know when this article was written by this journalist. In any event, let me continue. Billionaire Paul Singer's hedge fund, which disclosed a $3.2 billion stake in AT&T, called the company deeply undervalued and hinted it would press for board seats while proposing changes that could double the company's current share price, despite nearly 600 days passing between signing and closing and more than a year passing since. AT&T has yet to articulate a clear strategic rationale for why AT&T needs to own Time Warner, Elliott said in a letter to the company's board of directors. Now, this letter is very long, so that's in here somewhere. But this article seems to think that that's at the core of this letter. I'm in agreement. So when I saw the news, I immediately, well before Donald Trump tweeted, I immediately looked up Elliott Investors. Elliott Management, and you know, I saw this dude, Paul Singer, who's the founder and chief executive of the company, essentially. And I recognized him. I mean, only because I just was recently reading about him, and I couldn't remember why, but I knew. I mean, like within a week ago, I was just reading about him. What was it? I had to go back into my search history and look it up, and I quickly realized it. So, I mean, I was making a video a little over a week ago. I saw that Sarah Huckabee Sanders was in talks to join this lobbying firm, Teneo. Teneo is a lobbying firm in New York City. It was founded by former Clinton aides. Okay, and if you follow my channel, I have this theory that Trump and the Clintons worked together to fix the 2016 election, that Hillary Clinton lost it on purpose. So when I saw the news about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, a Trump loyalist, his press secretary, and an integral part of his campaign, was joining a lobbying firm that was founded by former Clinton aides, it definitely piqued my interest and sort of went towards my thinking and my theory. And the lobbying firm Teneo was founded by Doug Band. Doug Band's the president of it, and that is the former personal assistant to Bill Clinton when he was president. He also worked for the Clinton Foundation. The chief executive of Teneo, who helped found it as well in 2011, is Declan Kelly. He was named the economic envoy to Northern Ireland by Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. 2009. Did I say 2009? So, and then I looked into it a little bit further, and it seemed like this lobbying firm founded by former Clinton aides, Declan Kelly, Doug Band, that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is now in talks to join, had ties to the United Kingdom. Some huge, massive private equity firm had just taken a majority stake in it in June. Some private equity firm called CVC Partners, Capital Partners, that's based in the United Kingdom. So, I mean, all this time that I've had this theory, I've always known that there seemed to be a fair amount of activity by both campaigns, the Clinton campaign, Hillary Clinton campaign, and the Trump people in London. And I found that odd. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole Russia hoax thing, and I do think it's a hoax. I think it's a hoax perpetrated by Trump himself and Clinton, basically as a smokescreen to divert from, to feed the public and investigators and congressional committees a fake crime to cover up the real crime of them two working together to fix the election. But I couldn't understand why were they doing so much stuff? Why was it in London? I guess that's to be outside of the surveillance of the U.S. Intelligence and avoid detection, be outside of the Obama administration, But both campaigns had ties to London, and there's a number of them, whether the one I just mentioned, with Teneo, and even before CVC Partners, Capital Partners, took the stake in it, they bought it from a different private equity firm that was based in the United Kingdom, BC Partners, I think it's called. But there are other things too on both sides. The Trump, Cambridge Analytica, George Papadopoulos, his meeting with Professor Mifsud, I believe his name was, and supposedly, even though Paul Manafort denies this, he traveled to London to meet with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. There's text messages between Roger Stone and a Trump supporter who many people believe to be Dr. Corsi about, have you heard from your contact in London, etc. And on the Clinton side, one other big one was the Christopher Steele guy. Okay, Christopher Steele was the former British intelligence officer who who created the Russian dirty dossier. And initially, it was Fusion GPS by, it was later found out that, they were first employed by some Republicans, who were basically trying to compile some opposition research on Donald Trump during the primary. And, after Donald Trump won, supposedly, the Hillary Clinton campaign picked it up. And at some point, um, one of the founders of Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson, the former journalist from the Wall Street Journal, reached out to Christopher Steele in the United Kingdom and to do the dirty dossier. So, hopefully you stayed with me on that. So, when I saw this dude's picture, Paul Singer, I knew I was reading about him. I went to my search, history to find him, and I did. And then as soon as I did, right above him, I found the Washington Free Beacon. And then I remembered. It was the Washington Free Beacon that originally funded Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm, Glenn Simpson, the same firm that eventually would go on and contact Christopher Steele to do the dirty dossier, the Russia dossier that was paid for supposedly by the Hillary Clinton campaign at that point. But it was the Washington Free Beacon that originally funded the Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson for opposition research during the Republican primary. And then I remembered that it was Paul Singer who's the financial backer of the Washington Free Beacon. The same dude who now is the activist investor, at AT&T asking, why, sending a letter to the board stating many things, that they can get the share price up and that, maybe they need to divest certain assets, and stating that AT&T has yet to articulate a clear strategic rationale for why AT&T needs to own Time Warner, which owns CNN. And that's what happened today, I mean, that's it, dude. There's Paul Singer denies, as does the Free Beacon, any knowledge of the dossier and any contact or anything with the dossier. Paul Singer, and there's a very lawyerly-like statement here, about that. Paul Singer, a billionaire and hedge fund manager who is a major donor to Free Beacon, said it was unaware of the dossier until it was published by BuzzFeed in January 2017. On October 27, 2017, the Free Beacon publicly disclosed it had hired Fusion GPS and stated that it had no knowledge of or connection to the Steele dossier, did not pay for the dossier, and never had contact with, knowledge of, or provided payment for any work performed by Christopher Steele. The Free Beacon came under criticism for its reporting on Fusion GPS 3 days before it was revealed that it was the Free Beacon that had funded the work by Fusion GPS. The Free Beacon wrote that the firm's work was funded by an unknown GOP client while the primary was still going on. The Free Beacon has also published pieces that have sought to portray the work by Fusion GPS as unreliable, without noting it considered Fusion GPS reliable enough to pay for its service itself. And that's the story there, dude. That is the story there. Okay, so, I kind of like my theory, dude. I really do. If you don't, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. See you in the next video. Later, man.